the mayor of the city of Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's a good thing when you come to South Shore and it's standing room only.
Yeah.
People recognize something big and important is happening here today. So I want you all to look around. I want you to remember this feeling of joy and excitement, because this is what's going to continue to happen over and over and over again. Now, Michelle did, I think, all the introductions, but let me add one more. We have our esteemed city treasurer, Melissa Conyers-Irvin. Stand up so you can let people see. And the reason why you see so many South Side electeds here, because they all know that this investment is going to endure to the benefit of the entire South Side, and dare I say, to the entire city. This is a big moment of pride for all of us. Let me also introduce somebody who is relatively new to his new role, and that's our new DCASE Deputy Commissioner of Film, Jonah Ziegler. Could you stand up, Jonah? So I said to him, okay, we need more of this. We need more film. We need more TV. We need to make sure that we're creating jobs for people from these neighborhoods to go into the film and creative industry. Because let me just tell you folks, these are really, really good paying jobs. They're lucrative. And we need to make sure our folks are employed every day of the year. Let me also, I'm going to say a few words at the end about some of the folks who were most instrumental in making this moment possible. But as you know, COVID-19 really devastated our creative community here in Chicago. Right, the creative community, for many of the folks who are just coming up, maybe in the middle of their careers, this is a gig economy, right? You've got to have spaces for them to be able to get opportunities. It needs to be a city that's affordable, and it needs to be a city that supports our creative economy. Putting aside the fact that this is billions of dollars that come into the revenue stream of our city every year, our creative economy is really what sets us apart. We've got people in every facet of the industry, both in front of and behind the camera, creating art and music, all of the above. There's no place else on the planet like the city of Chicago when it comes to our creatives. But what we must do is continue to make sure that they recover from the pandemic. What we must do is make sure that we are continuing to invest in them. And at the height of the pandemic, when things looked really bleak, we did what we always do. We sat down and we listened. And here's what we heard from the creative community. One is we've got to create more opportunities, obviously. But the other thing that we heard is, Mayor, we need the city itself to make an investment in the lives of the creatives in our city. And that's what we did. Historically, the work that we did through DCASE and our great commissioner, Aaron Harkey, is also here. But historically, all of the investments that we made were tied to the hotel tax. Well, what happened to the hotel tax during the height of the pandemic? There was no revenue. So we had to change the formula and the way in which we funded our creative economy. And so what we did with the help of our colleagues in City Council is we said, every year, minimum of $10 million, we are going to take from our corporate funds and make sure that we are putting it into arts and culture organizations at the block level all across our city. And in addition to that, we've used our ARPA dollars, we've used our social impact bond to even add more of that. Right now, we are funding more in the arts and culture community in our city than we've ever done before. And we are all going to be the beneficiaries of it. Right, we're here because of the commitment that so many people have made to our community. And let me talk specifically about the announcement that we're making here today. This $100 million, did you hear that all?
About
$100 million here in South Shore. Okay? You can absolutely clap for that. State-of-the-art media campus will boast 220,000 square feet of studio space for residents to develop their film and media skills, as well as prepare to enter a career in the industry. So we've got to thank Jim Reynolds from Loop Capital Markets. Jim is a son of Inglewood, but he sees the rest of the city too. So that's going to benefit. He'll give you more details about this project, but this is going to generate several positive impacts for South Shore and the surrounding community. For example, this studio will reduce economic insecurity and inequity for providing new educational opportunities and job readiness training so that people come out of this training and go right into lucrative jobs. And what I'm especially excited about is it's going to create educational opportunities for Chicago public school students. That's a big deal. To learn more about and explore careers in television and film production training. That means this project will not only set many of our young people up for success, but will also enhance Chicago's reputation as an incubator of film and media talent. And what is the bottom line here is not only are we going to keep people home here in Chicago, they're not going to have to go to either coast or, sorry Atlanta, you're not getting our people. But it also means we are rebuilding the middle class here in Chicago, in black and brown Chicago, which is incredibly important. I'm also excited to share that Regal Model Studios is coming to our city at the most opportune time. Despite COVID bringing the film industry to a near standstill, Chicago's film and TV industry has bounced back stronger than ever. And I gotta give a shout out also to Melody Hobson, who as part of our recovery team said, you know what, there's opportunities right here, right now. Let's put together a plan. And tell them about the opportunities that are here in Chicago, and that's precisely what we did. So we are now expanding our capacity to produce high-quality, authentic screen entertainment that captures the world's attention, while simultaneously providing opportunities for Chicago residents. And over the last year, Chicago has served as a production center for 15 current, premiered, or upcoming television series, including some of those highly rated and critically acclaimed series on the air, filmed right here in Chicago. And while we don't have the final number yet, for 2022, we are projecting more than $700 million in film production revenue. Just think about what this new campus is going to do to substantially impact and improve those numbers. The sky truly is the limits. And I'm also pleased, of course, because this campus is right near an Invest Southwest site. Invest Southwest, in case you haven't heard about it, in case you didn't know, has shepherded $2.2 billion of public and private investment into historically disinvested neighborhoods on the south and the west side. And we have no intention of stopping it. The private sector, I have to tell you, has stepped up to support Invest Southwest and a number of our other initiatives in profound ways. When we introduced Invest Southwest back in the fall of 2019, pre-pandemic, which seems like a lifetime ago, we said the city itself will commit $750 million. And our hope is that we would get to $1 billion with additional private sector supports. We have blown through those early estimations, and more is coming. So this planned campus represents more than $100 million in brick and mortar investment And importantly, not one penny of city dollars is going into this. This is all.
God be the glory.
And we should be very proud of it. And we're celebrating, obviously, here in South Shore. South Shore is a great example of the type of clustered investment that Invest Southwest is designed to spur. In other words, not one and done, not something that will be in one location and not span out across the neighborhood, across the blocks. This is catalyzing exactly the vision that we had for Invest Southwest. So thanks to our holistic neighborhood and corridor-based investment strategies, as well as the relationship that we forged in South Shore, and with private and philanthropic partners, this corridor, 79th Street, is going to be filled with change and soon.
Yeah.
So if you walk down 79th Street, you can also see the site of the upcoming Thrive Exchange flagship development, which is a transformative, also $100 million community investment that will provide South Shore residents with better access to health care, high quality and affordable housing, and the tools that they need to achieve financial stability. Soon you'll also be able to see the beginning stages of the 79th Street streetscape project. Thank you, Alderman Hairston, for being a persistent, dogged advocate in this work. That's why it's going to happen. Too long this community has been without. Too long people have wanted to see the streets transformed, safer, green spaces. But now it's coming. And this is going to provide safe, walkable, and attractive streets that will foster community and economic growth and add to what's happening here on this campus, as well as reactivate neighborhood cores that have historically served as hubs for pedestrian activity, shopping, transportation, and so much more. And on top of that, we announced the third round of community development grant also in South Shore at the Country Club, which is another part of the work that we're doing to transform neighborhoods all across the city. During the third round, we awarded 4 local South Shore businesses close to $2 million in grant funding. And in total, across the 3 funding rounds so far, and we're coming for another, we've awarded 12 South Shore businesses with close to $6 million in grant funding.
Woo! God be the glory.
So I want to thank, first and foremost, Alderman Hairston, Alderman Harris, both of whom are dogged advocates for their respective communities, and it doesn't happen without them. And truthfully, neither of them seek the limelight, they just do the work. And they need and deserve the credit because none of these things happen without them being there. So thank you both. And Jim, I gotta thank you. I mean, you could do a lot of things with your time and frankly the resources and your well-earned success. But you're entering, I think, a new chapter in your life and a renaissance where you are saying, I'm going to get this done for my community, and you're doing it, man. And I appreciate you for it. And we are all and Jared, thank you so much. He's telling me when I was talking to him briefly, this was his neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is where he grew up.
Yeah.
This is where he saw himself as a young man and thought about what his future. The fact that you are back here now and doing this, the work that you've been doing on the Shy and other projects, but putting a flagship down here, tremendous, tremendous thing. So thank you. I also want to thank all the community members and creatives that are here that have shared your feedback on this project. Your fingerprints, your ideas, your DNA are going to be streaming through this project, this campus, every step of the way. So, I think I've talked enough. It's time for me to yield the stage. But it is exciting to be here with all of you today. Great things are happening on the south side of Chicago, and particularly in this community. And we are grateful for all of you have been the village to make sure that your ideas, your aspirations, your hopes are now becoming reality. And with that, I'm going to ask Jim Reynolds to please.
If anybody's wondering who's leading the charge on those thunderous applause, it's my little brother Tim. I was wondering, usually people aren't this happy here this big, but Tim, I appreciate it. I'll raise those 12. Now, everybody that knows me around the city, and a fair number of people do, and if you ask any of them to say something about Jim Reynolds, just one thing, just one thing, they're going to say, oh, Jim's from Inglewood.
Yeah, about listen.
But not a man, let me tell you something. So I am from Inglewood. Raised pretty much in Inglewood till I was 16 years old. When I was 16 years old, my mother and her two sisters put $2,500 together to buy a house on 80th and Jeffrey. In 1969. And I transferred from Tilden Tech in Inglewood to CBS.
Right.
What's ironic, and when you think about City Flight, we moved right around the corner in 1969. I was 15 or 16, and we were the second black family or third on that block, 80th and Jeffrey.
Better listen.
Old timers, they remember how it used to be over here. Within a year, all of the white families were gone, and it was pretty much black, which was okay.
Right.
Because over here, and Madam Mayor, I'm gonna dovetail some of your comments with real life anecdotes. Over here was at the time when virtually every black person in this community had at least one job, maybe two. The steel mills were over there. The slaughterhouses, we were actually the hog slaughtering capital of the world. 79th Street, from the Dan Ryan all the way over, there was not a vacancy in any of the shops. Entrepreneurs and restaurants and clothing stores and record shops were all filled and bustling. The black community on the south side, 79th, 83rd, 87th, in the areas where I frequented, 63rd Street, were meccas of enterprise and entrepreneurship. That's really what black people knew. You know, we had come up north to work as parts of the Great Migration. So instead of working down south for free, we actually came up here and actually had a chance to get great jobs. I want to give a few thank yous, and then we'll get back to some of this project. Madam Mayor, I've been around the city a long time, as you know, and have had a chance to work with a lot of politicians because that's a part of the work that I do. But I remember in your campaign, and particularly in your election, you were the first mayor that I had ever heard lead with investment on the south and west side.
You better listen.
Actually lead with that to make that a cornerstone of your agenda and your administration. That's not ever been done. So I want to applaud for that. I have been a strong advocate as I've sat downtown and I've watched resources leave the communities of the south and west side and make their way downtown and north and Gold Coast and Lincoln Park without a lot of discussion or significant debate about it, or certainly not enough influence to stop that trend.
You better listen.
But when the person on top, the CEO that answers to nobody except the people, lead with that, that really means something. So
Yeah.
thank you. I want to say thanks to a lot of people, because a project like this can't happen without a lot of support, especially in this city. Because you have to build coalitions here, or else the people will shut it down.
Yeah.
That's just the way Chicago works.
What can you do?
In a lot of places, and I tell folks that come here, I say, if you are going to Chicago, you better learn how we function in Chicago, or you will not get your project right.
You better listen.
Deputy Samir America, I didn't see Samir. I saw Michael Foss.
He's in India.
Oh, he's taking a well-deserved vacation. Well-deserved. He's amazing. He has been, Madam Mayor, one of the most brilliant decisions you've made, among many brilliant decisions, is putting Samir on that team. He really is a force of nature. Probably only weighs about 140 pounds. But boy, he can get stuff done. Michael Fosno, one of your strong leaders, tireless worker, really focused on getting projects done and moving this city forward. Want to thank you. Michelle Harris. You're leaving in a couple months, and every time folks try to talk you out of it, you smile broadly and say, no, I made up my mind. Leslie Harris-Dunn. You're leaving in a couple months. Obviously, we've known each other for a couple of decades, and I think you probably know my wife longer than that. And Clarence and my team. You've been an amazing leader. We're going to miss you.
Yes, sir.
And you know my little brother over there, too. Michelle Harris, you've kind of helped. That's Alvin leading charge over there. Your guiding hand and fingerprints are all over this project. Carrying us, helping us get this thing through. It's really been amazing. Something like this can't get done without that type of leadership. So thank you. Senator L.G. Sims. Thank you, for your guidance and leadership. And Commissioner Cox, the Planning Department of Housing, Peter Hawley, it's been great. The Chicago Film Office, the Gersh Agency, Public Schools, Pedro Martinez, State Rep Marcus Evans. Where's Marcus? Marcus, we talk about all your guests, so I definitely am happy to see you here. And thank you for your contributions. And by the way, you know, when Jim Reynolds gives a lot of thanks and everything, he usually follows that up with a request or two. The mayor can tell you what about that. And World Business Chicago. Let me say a couple things about the city.
Yes, sir.
My favorite treasurer, Melissa, thank you so much. Give my best to my good friend, your husband, Jason. Thank you so much for your leadership. So coming from Chicago, I talk about it a lot. You guys hear me talk about it, but you're not with me when I travel, and I travel just about every day. And I go to every city, probably every city in the United States I've been through multiple times. Let me put it like this. Cities worth visiting, I've been through multiple times.
Right.
Missoula, Montana, or something like that. And I talk about Chicago and the people of Chicago and how we get things done. I'm old enough to remember when I moved here, even when I came from Inglewood, I don't hardly ever remember locking our doors at night.
You better listen.
Yes, sir.
When we moved here in 1969, and my house is still there, my brother owns it.
Yes, sir.
We didn't lock our doors. We didn't have air conditioning. I slept with the windows open. And you stop and you think about those days and what's happening now. One of the reasons that we didn't have to fear for our safety or our belongings or someone taking something from you, everybody worked.
Right.
Everybody had a job or two. The community was economically vibrant. So folks didn't steal from each other. They didn't feel compelled or the need to take your stuff because they had their own stuff.
Yes, sir.
And also you had folks spending time and making time for their children. And the children had a sense of accomplishment, of hope, or of a better life, that there's something that they could lead to, something that's worth working hard, persevering for. The disinvestment stopped in the communities, and we saw a gradual decline. I can remember where it was so unusual to see a person on drugs where everybody in the neighborhood would say, see that guy, that guy takes drugs. It was so unusual to see that. Now it's commonplace. And a lot of those things occur when economic vibrancy and activity leave a community. One of the reasons I'm so proud of this project, and I do a lot of projects, but this one is near and dear because one, we're going to take these young people,
You better listen.
we're going to revitalize this community and bring economic activity and jobs and hope back. One of the things we committed to the mayor, we committed to the aldermen, we committed to the state senators and state reps. We're going to go back and we're going to grab these young kids that are so predisposed to the arts, so predisposed to film and video and visual activities, and we're going to train them how to do it. We're going to put these studios here, but these studios will not just be here importing workers from someplace else.
You better listen.
These studios are going to be here. This investment is going to be here. It's going to employ people from the community here, just like we did with the activities here. And it's going to train young people from the high schools here, starting with my old high school, CVS. And we're going to take those young kids and show them how to work behind the camera, how to do movies, how to do film, how to write, how to direct, how to act in. They're going to have their fingers on every aspect of everything that goes on in these movies. I want to thank my partners, starting with Derek Dudley, who brought this project to me while we happen to be, and I don't do this all the time, so just be big, engaging in activity in the south of France. And the last thing I expected was some brother from Chicago and say, hey, let me talk to you about this film project. Susan Cronin, the woman that really works so hard to make sure the numbers work, the financing works, and everything gets done in that respect. My partner that you guys don't even know about, Chance the Rapper, is with us on this deal.
You better listen.
And Chance is just chomping at the bit because this is his community too.
Yes, sir.
He said, Jim, you mean you gonna put studios behind that White Castle? Carmen, our other partners, brothers coming together, and one more partner who's this close, I'm gonna go to New York and see him. My good friend Derek Rose is coming in on this project.
Oh, man.
So what we want to do is we want to bring hope back to these young people. We want to kind of show them that there are role models out here that are doing more things than some of the negative things that they see every day.
Yes, sir.
If you see a young person, and I get fascinated by them there, that they're 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, robbing people and carjacking people on cars and things that they don't even need. And they don't even know what to do with, but it is symbolic to me of a lack of hope. It's symbolic to me of the fact that they just don't think there's a future in doing the right thing, so I'm just going to do the wrong thing. We want to really start bringing that hope back to these young people and say, hey, no, hey guys, I'm not stealing any cars today.
Right.
We're going to go and I'm going to get a job up at that studio. And I'm going to learn how to work a camera and how to shoot a movie. Those are the things that I get excited about, that I run to this project about, and I'm just thrilled to say. Madam Mayor, your leadership, your support, the support of your communication, your administration on this has been invaluable. Your leadership and your steadfast commitment to South by Southwest, and I read the newspapers like everybody else, and you probably discount half of what you read, if not 90%. This is strong commitment, it is purposeful commitment, and it's the right thing to do. So thank you so much for your leadership.